Hey there. This video will be an introduction for your A8 notes. You have other links here that will go through definitions and the rest of the problems. I'm not going to redo all the problems, but when these videos were first made, we used a calculator on the computer to do these future value problems. And I just want to show you how to do it on the calculator, since that's what you will have, and you won't be able to use a calculator on your computer during a test time, but you should at this point have a calculator. So I'm going to go through steps on the TI-83 and 84. You have steps right here, but I want to actually show it to you so you know where to go. So once you get through this video, you'll click on the Future Value Part 1 link, and it'll go through the definitions and actually plugging in numbers. Also note that these problems will have, most of them will have two answers, because the calculator on the computer is rounding within the problem, where your calculator is not rounding. So whenever the instructor writes website answer and then calculator answer, you should be matching the calculator answer to it. If the decimal did not go on and on and on forever, then that answer will be the same, so there will only be one answer. So as he writes down the answers, just focus on the calculator answer. And if he only writes a website answer, just know what you got on your calculator would be the accurate answer. So this is future value problems. That means you're saving up money so that you can have it to use in the future. So you're starting with no money right now, and you're saving up money. The next video links will also go through each of these variables, which are exactly what you'll be filling in whenever you solve these problems. So I'm not going to take the time to fill in or to talk about these words, because you'll get that in the next video. But I am going to click over to the calculator and then show you the buttons. You can see it on your notes there, and then I'm going to show it on the calculator. Alright, so this is the TI-84. The TI-83 looks exactly the same, or the steps at least are exactly the same. You are going to hit your apps button, which you see is in red here, right beside the math button. Your calculator will have a whole lot of other number 2, 3, 4, 5. All we are worried about is number 1. So on finance, you hit enter, and that TVM solver is what you are going to use on every one of these problems and the next set of notes, and actually the assignment 10. And then you hit enter again, and you will see this will look like what David will use on the next videos with the same variables on what he uses. Just the I% it's going to do some rounding whenever we don't want it to. So on the end, you'll be putting in two numbers. You'll put in, like, maybe you have compoundings monthly, so 12, and then you'll times it by the number of years. So let's just say it's 5 years. When you hit enter, it does the math for you. Your I%, you will find out from the next video that this is the only time you do not move the decimal on the rate, on the percentage that you're given. We do not have to make it a decimal. So if the rate is 5%, you're just going to use a 5. But this one has to be divided by the number of compoundings. And I just said we're going to pretend we're monthly compounding. So 5 divided by 12, hit enter, and it gives us the whole decimal. PV is what's going to be present value. That is going to be 0. When we do future value problems, we're saying we do not have the money now. We're saving up for it. Our payment is how much money do I need to put away every month so that I have X amount of dollars in the future. So that is money leaving our pocket. So we're going to use our negative sign and say we're going to put aside $150 every month for the next 5 years, right? We said that our time was 5. And then we can find out what we will have in the future. So this is going to take into account the interest and the compoundings, and it's going to do all that work for us. The difference now is it's not just one payment that we're putting in. We are putting this payment in over and over and over again because we're doing it monthly. So that's why we've moved away from the formulas from yesterday and we're using this app in a calculator. So in order to solve, if I want to solve for FV, then I make sure my cursor is right there blinking on it, and then I'm going to hit alpha, my green button on this particular calculator, and enter, and it tells me that in 5 years, putting $150 away every month, I will have $10,000, $10,200.91. And then a big note is you see P/Y equals 1, C/Y equals 1, and end highlighted. Those three on your calculator should look just like mine. If you have any other numbers besides ones, or if begin is highlighted, then you need to make sure and get those to look just like this. So that's very important. We will never mess with those three entries. So you want to make sure they are just like that, and you'll never change them for any problem for this course. So that is how we do these problems. Also you won't ever clear anything. If you start a new problem, just go back up to your N, and you can say, okay, we're going to go quarterly this time for 10 years. And our rate is going to be 7.5%, and that would be divided by 4 because it's quarterly. PV will always be 0 if it's a a future value problem, sorry. And this time, let's say we know in the future we need $20,000. What does my payment need to be every quarter so that in 10 years I have that money? So this time I want to alpha enter on PMT for payment. And that tells me that I need to put away $340.18 every quarter for the next 10 years to have $20,000 in the end. So you can solve for any different variable that way. I just wanted you to be familiar with it on your calculator.